Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder remains one of those suspense stories that proves tension does not need giant action scenes or expensive visual effects to keep an audience completely invested. Even decades after the original concept became famous, this 1981 adaptation carries a classic mystery atmosphere that feels elegant, intelligent, and surprisingly engaging. The movie works like a carefully arranged puzzle where every conversation, every movement, and every silence slowly builds towards something dangerous. For viewers who enjoy psychological thrillers instead of loud modern action films, this version offers a calm but gripping experience that keeps the mind active from beginning to end. The film is based on the legendary stage play created by Frederick Knott, and the story itself had already become iconic because of the earlier adaptation directed by the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock. The 1981 version carries that same spirit while presenting the story in a television film style that focuses more on performances and dialogue-driven suspense. Instead of trying to reinvent the material with unnecessary changes, the filmmakers respected the original structure and allowed the mystery to remain the true star of the experience. One of the strongest qualities of this movie is how quickly it creates tension without rushing the narrative. The plot introduces us to a married couple whose relationship is not as perfect as it appears on the surface. Beneath the calm and polished exterior, there are secrets, jealousy, manipulation, and carefully hidden motives. The husband begins planning something sinister after discovering information that threatens his comfortable lifestyle. What follows is a dangerous game involving deception, betrayal, and a murder plan that appears flawless at first glance. The movie avoids excessive violence and instead relies on suspenseful conversations, timing, and psychological pressure. That approach actually makes the story even more effective because viewers become emotionally involved in every decision the characters make. Every scene feels important. A simple phone call suddenly becomes stressful. A key lying on a table becomes significant. Even silence begins to carry suspense. The film proves that intelligent writing can create excitement without relying on non-stop action sequences. The direction in this adaptation deserves appreciation because the filmmaker understands the importance of atmosphere. Rather than moving too quickly, the movie allows scenes to breathe naturally. The pacing feels theatrical in a good way, almost like watching a live stage performance where every word matters. The camera work stays controlled and focused, giving attention to facial expressions and reactions instead of distracting visual tricks. That old-school style may feel different for younger viewers who are used to rapid editing, but it fits the material perfectly. The indoor settings also contribute greatly to the suspense. Much of the movie takes place inside apartments and confined spaces, which creates a feeling of emotional pressure. The characters seem trapped not only physically but psychologically. As the story progresses, the environment begins to feel colder and more uncomfortable. The audience starts noticing tiny details because the movie trains viewers to pay attention. That is one reason why the mystery remains engaging even after many years. The performances are another major reason the film succeeds. The lead actors understand that this story depends heavily on emotional control and believable dialogue delivery. Instead of exaggerated reactions, they use subtle expressions and carefully measured performances. The actor playing the husband delivers a calm and calculated personality that becomes unsettling the longer the movie continues. His intelligence and manipulative behavior create a villain who feels realistic rather than theatrical. He speaks politely, but there is always tension hidden beneath his calm appearance. The actress playing the wife gives a performance filled with vulnerability and emotional confusion. She does not portray the character as weak, instead, she presents someone trapped inside a dangerous situation she never fully expected. Her reactions feel genuine, especially during the suspenseful moments where fear and uncertainty begin to take over. She becomes the emotional center of the story because viewers naturally sympathize with her circumstances. The supporting cast also contributes strongly to the atmosphere. The police investigator character brings balance to the narrative with intelligence and patience. Unlike many modern detectives who solve mysteries through dramatic action scenes, this investigator depends on observation, logic, and careful questioning. Watching him slowly piece together the truth becomes one of the most satisfying parts of the film. The character adds a layer of intellectual suspense because viewers begin wondering whether justice will actually prevail in the end. One of the movie's greatest strengths is its screenplay. The dialogue remains sharp, elegant, and meaningful throughout the runtime. Conversations are never wasted. Even ordinary discussions contain clues or emotional subtext that later become important. The writing trusts the audience to pay attention rather than explaining every detail repeatedly. That confidence makes the viewing experience more rewarding because the audience feels actively involved in solving the mystery. The film also explores themes that still feel relevant today. Greed, manipulation, trust, and betrayal remain timeless human issues. The story examines how appearances can hide darker truths and how obsession with money or control can destroy relationships. At its core, the movie is not only about crime but about the psychology of people trying to outsmart each other. That human element keeps the story interesting even for viewers who already know the basic premise. Another interesting aspect of the film is its restraint. Modern thrillers often rely heavily on shocking twists or graphic scenes, but this movie chooses sophistication instead. It builds suspense gradually and carefully. The tension comes from anticipation rather than spectacle. This style may not appeal to viewers seeking non-stop action, but fans of classic mystery storytelling will likely appreciate the intelligence behind the approach. The musical score also deserves mention because it quietly supports the suspense without becoming overwhelming. Instead of dominating scenes, the music stays subtle and atmospheric. During important moments, the soundtrack gently increases tension and emotional uncertainty. This controlled use of music matches the movie's overall tone perfectly. Visually, the movie reflects the early 1980s television film style, which gives it a nostalgic charm today. The costumes, interior design, and overall production style create an elegant atmosphere that feels connected to classic mystery cinema. The film may not have the polished visual effects of modern productions, but its simplicity actually works in its favor because it keeps the focus on storytelling and character interactions. What makes this adaptation particularly enjoyable is the way it respects intelligence. The audience is encouraged to observe clues, question motives, and analyze character behavior. The suspense does not come from random surprises but from carefully structured storytelling. Even viewers familiar with the original version can still enjoy watching how the tension unfolds scene by scene. Fans of classic cinema will especially appreciate the movie's dialogue-heavy structure and theatrical roots. There is a certain timeless quality to watching characters attempt to outmaneuver each other using logic and deception instead of technology or violence. The movie reminds viewers why traditional mystery thrillers became so respected in cinema history. At the same time, new audiences may discover that older suspense films can still feel remarkably engaging when the writing and performances are strong enough. Even without modern pacing or flashy visuals, the emotional tension remains effective because the story focuses on universal fears and human weakness. Suspense built through psychology often ages better than suspense built purely through spectacle. Overall, Dial M for Murder delivers an intelligent and entertaining mystery experience filled with tension, strong performances, and carefully crafted suspense. It may not be the loudest thriller ever made, but it is certainly one of those stories that quietly pulls viewers into its dangerous web and refuses to let go until the final moments. The film succeeds because it understands the power of atmosphere, conversation, and psychological conflict. For audiences who enjoy classic murder mysteries with elegant storytelling and memorable suspense, this adaptation remains a worthwhile watch even today. This movie is available on YouTube free.